Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I'm Pikachu.
And I'm Squirtle.
Pika?
Yeah,
Yeah. So Bethany won the death battle bet this year.
I did.
And she went with something that makes me look and feel incredibly ridiculous. But is actually very comfortable. It's hot, but it's comfortable. And at least that's better than, the wig and the makeup from last year.
I can do this. Somehow I know it. I'll get heaven behind my plans.
Charlie, calm down. I applaud you for this year. It's a lot better. Thank you.
I heard the feedback. I took the notes, and I came up with this.
I was kinder this year in our death battle, so that's a little bit has something to do with it. I would like to think.
That's true. You are.
Okay, so this is our top 25 shows that we've watched on the channel. There's like one or two that we watched on Definitely Not Definitive Games that are gonna come over here as well. But yeah, so we are ranking them, and this is a combined list. So this is our top 25. We kind of talked about it and argued for some to be higher, or why they should be higher. But eventually we settled on a shared list.
Ultimately, I'm very happy with how we did it. Like we each made concessions.
We did.
And so I felt pretty good about how this list represented us.
Agreed. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna get started. Bethany's kicking off with number 25.
But you'll forgive us because I'm just gonna. It's a little bit warm with the hood.
It is.
So now that we've had the
Full effect.
reveal of the costumes,
Yeah.
I hope you will allow for us to just get a little more comfortable. Got the list on the phone, so that's why I had to figure out what was going on here. Coming in at this is 25, right? We
Yep.
did a 25 list? Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Jeez.
Tales of the Jedi / Empire. Star Wars content is... Star Wars is a beloved franchise. So obviously any content they turn out, we are very excited to check out. Just ranked at 25 versus being higher, in part because we weren't as immersed in it as we were with some of the others. And that's mainly because of the characters. These were short stories. So you got little snippets about what was going on in different parts of the galaxy at different times. But it wasn't like when you follow, say for example, the Bad Batch, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so invested in that crew and their story and what they're gonna do next. And I keep thinking about those characters after the fact. Whereas Tales of the Jedi and Empire, I'm like, oh, those were some cute short stories. Those were fun, but it's not like I'm hooked into a character. So that is why, for me at least, this does not rank higher.
Yeah, number 24 is The Amazing Digital Circus. And so this show has got a lot of great characters in it, a lot of originality in it. And I'm what impressed me about it is the fact that it's got a lot of heart in it, and you wouldn't expect that really kind of watching the pilot and just kind of the insanity of it all. This kind of feels like an acid trip, right? When you first start watching it, and then as the characters start to develop more, you're like, oh, okay, there's a lot of heart behind this. We actually need to catch up on The Amazing Digital Circus, so sorry about that. Just haven't had time to catch up to it quite yet, but looking forward to the next episode. And yeah, so number 24 is The Amazing Digital Circus.
Which makes number 23, Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. Just loved the sort of raunchiness of this, the humor. We did not ever see the original Hellsing.
No, we have not.
So our only kind of vantage point into this world was from the abridged side. And we love the abridged and thought it was really enjoyable. One of the reasons why this didn't rank higher is because it can be...
Mike.
Oliver needs to get comfortable. And we are, as you may have noticed, working with some updated equipment here. And Oliver finds it to be intrusive into his napping place. Anyway.
Now he's messed up the whole...
Oh no. Part. So while we really loved Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, since we don't know the original material, it's kind of hard to know, are we giving a lot of credit to the abridged version that maybe isn't from the original content, or was it in the original content and therefore that it was just kind of more of a remake than original in a sense? Because of that, and because we didn't have a wider knowledge or context, that's why it came in at number 23 versus what may have been higher on our list if we had a little bit more of a foothold into the world.
Number 22 is Cyberpunk. Really loved the story between David and Lucy, the romance in this, the music in this, the visuals. This was kind of like, at the time we were watching this, it was like a show that we really like hadn't seen much of before, like these like types of shows. Like, you know, we were like kind of just getting into anime right now. And so this like kind of like more, I don't know, I guess like we call it like a Western anime. I don't know if it's like, if it is official anime or not. But for us, it was like just kind of like a different show and like hit us in the feels. And I think we maybe ugly cried once or twice during this, and it was very successful for just one season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Next up on our list is Helluva Boss. I seem to get the ones with the raunchy humor. I don't know how that's working out in this list, but that's what I'm getting. Love the humor in it, of course. Have fallen in love with the characters. It was our first introduction to Vivi, I think it's Medrano?
Think so.
Medrano's work. Apologies if I'm not saying the last name right. I know her first name is Vivi. So just loved the world that she has created and loved how she pairs very raunchy humor and very adult humor, but with real heart and some characters that are grappling with real issues that are relatable despite the fact that they are demons in hell. So yeah, for all of those reasons, Helluva Boss had to be on our list, and it is coming in at number 21.
Number 20 is Castlevania Nocturne. So we separated Castlevania and Castlevania Nocturne. We didn't do that with all the shows. Sometimes we combine some shows. You'll see later on, like some of the Star Wars and some of the Dragon Ball we combined. But Castlevania Nocturne, I think, like, you know, can stand on its own. It's a show that maybe like it took us a little bit to like really like I think find its groove and find its footing. Richter was great in this. Some like great kick-ass moments. Obviously Alucard is phenomenal, and like that is a carryover from the first Castlevania. And so nice like expanding of the world. Maybe like, you know, the biggest knock against it is not the first Castlevania series, but still really enjoy this one.
And then coming in at number 19 is The Last of Us. We've lumped Last of Us 1 and 2, the sort of like all show content in its entirety at this point.
Yeah.
If you watched our New Year's Eve episode, you'll kind of know where Last of Us ranked on our gaming list. So the show is probably helped in some ways by the fact that we played the game and we have a sense of the story that they are creating. Even though the show itself has not released that fully. So as Ken and I were comparing our individual lists, I ranked it kind of higher and realized, but I'm considering the whole story and we haven't seen all that in the show yet. So we had a little discussion about where it truly fits based solely on the show content. And that is at number 19 on our list.
Number 18 is RWBY. RWBY! Yeah, the RWBY community really embraced us, and so we're really grateful for that. Starting with the trailers and just getting into this show and seeing the sort of the evolution of it, and you know, how the animation for the show got better over the different seasons. And like, you know, some of the seasons were hit or miss, you know, but it had a lot of solid seasons in there, and like it kept us, you know, entertained throughout 9 seasons. And we're really looking forward to volume 10 when that comes out. Really some beloved characters in this show, and we went on to RWBY Chibi, and just it's been such a big part of the channel here, that, you know, it had to make our top 25.
Absolutely. Coming in at number 17 is The Legend of Korra.
Do the thing.
For that reason, you know, Korra gave us some wonderful characters. There was no lumping this in with Avatar because the characters and the stories and the worlds were so different. Like the 1920s vibe of Korra was just so unique and fun. You know, they gave us a love triangle, but I was really grateful when they decided to kind of drop that. Not that it was a terrible choice at first, but like what I was appreciative of is that they knew when it had run its course and that it was not necessary to keep kind of hammering it on the audience. Like it wasn't going to happen, so just let it not happen. Yeah. And from the sort of like fallout of the love triangle was the evolution of some really interesting characters. Like I felt like they all got more interesting and complicated and unique and strong once they were separated from this whole kind of forced romance situation. And yeah, the humor with that, you know, that was, I think, a major selling point for Korra was, do the thing.
Exactly. Speaking of humor, number 16 is One Punch Man. So a lot of great laugh out loud moments in this show. Moment Rider, it's himself, Bike Messenger Man, should vault him into this high on the list. And I also like the fact that the show, you think One Punch Man is going to be all about fighting and everything like that, but it's not, and like it's not just doesn't like, necessarily like, not say that there's not action and violence and whatnot in this, but say that it's not glorifying violence, but like it really is about like anybody can be a hero, and it's not about the fighting itself. It's why you are fighting. It's what you are fighting for, and that's what matters, and that's what makes a hero. And I like that. Like that is kind of the emphasis of the show. And it's, I don't know if you've ever like taken any sort of like self-defense or like mixed martial arts or like boxing or like anything like that. But like when you do, and if you aren't like, using it like competitively or anything like that, then at like some point, at least for me, like you start to be like, well, I'm learning all this stuff, and I was learning it like, originally for like self-defense or whatever, and like also like for like exercise, but then you're just like, but I want to like use this stuff, and like then I started realizing I'm like, I gotta stop because like I'm gonna get my ass kicked because I'm gonna be like, I know mixed martial arts, so I'm gonna try to pick a fight with the guy because I want to use this. And so, but it's not about that, it's not about learning it to use it. Like, and the same thing with like Saitama, like, he trained all this hard to like be a hero, and now like he can't even like really like use it because like it just takes one punch and like he like destroys people. So there's like no fun in that. But that's not what it's about. That's not what being a hero is about. And so I like the messaging of that show.
All right. Coming in at number 15, Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah.
This was our introduction into the Dragon Ball universe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have been with us on this journey, you will know that our Dragon Ball journey is massive. We have covered a ton of content, and that is all thanks to Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah.
Had we not found the characters so engaging, the humor so compelling and on point, we would probably never have ventured further, in part because Dragon Ball is so massive. Like it's a little bit intimidating to think that you're gonna dive into a Dragon Ball journey when you consider how much content there is of Dragon Ball. So we kind of dipped our toes in through Dragon Ball Z Abridged, knowing that if this isn't really our jam, we're probably not gonna be able to take this journey because it would just be a huge time investment if we're kind of like meh about it. And it wound up being something that we absolutely loved. And we had some characters that we fell in love with that then as we went on our real Dragon Ball journey, we could not wait to see them because we're like, oh my God, I wonder if they're gonna be like they were in Abridged. And like, I think of, well, I don't want to get too much into it because like proper Dragon Ball content is going to come later. So I'm going to hold my thoughts. But Dragon Ball Z Abridged for getting us into this world for which we are so grateful because it was such a wonderful journey for us.
Number 14 is Kenobi. So this was one that originally like on my list was a lot lower, but then Bethany, rightfully fought for it to be higher on our list. A lot of the reason was because, it's like such an iconic character, and like little Leia was such a badass in this. That actress was amazing.
Fantastic.
Just so much fun to watch. And also just like the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. He literally had the higher ground, and then also like Vader with his like force pull of the ship, and so it just gave us some like really cool badass moments in this show. And so yeah, for that, that's the reason it's as high as it is.
Vader force pulled a ship. I mean, come on. I'm nerding out. Sorry. 15, 14, 13 on our list is Frieren Beyond Journey's End.
Yeah.
This ranked high for a variety of reasons. One of them that stuck out to me was just how different the feel was for this anime.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that our frame of reference for anime was Dragon Ball and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I mean, some shows that are very action-based and like adrenaline pumping, So we get to Frieren and everything's so zen. It's really calm. And Frieren just wants to sleep in. That's all she wants. And so it was such a different pace. And yet, despite having such a different pace and tone, it was still so engaging. And the characters were so compelling. Frieren, her incredible power that she has, and yet she like dwarfs her mana, and all she wants to do is find some grimoires and chill and sleep in. Like she's not got the ambition of like so many characters in anime that we've come across, like your Gokus and your Full Metal, like they've got ambition and they're like the top of their game, and Frieren's here with all this power, like I just want to chill. That's all I want to do. So love the characters in Frieren, love the different pace, and the fact that it was so different from our experience of anime so far, and yet so equally successful in keeping us interested and excited to go back and watch more episodes, makes it number 13 on our list.
Number 12 is Fallout. This is one that we watched on Definitely Not Definitive Games, and just such like the kookiness of this show was so refreshing. The main character of it just knocked it out of the park. Was phenomenal. Also, the ghoul was really great, and it gave us like some, but like in addition to like just the silliness and the goofiness of it all, it gives you like some good violence and like shocking holy shit moments. Like Bethany couldn't look at the screen a couple times for a variety of different reasons. So like, you had that's the kind of like what blew up our channel was our Mortal Kombat reactions, and like her not being able to watch those. And yeah, so Fallout, really looking forward to season 2 because season 1 was just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna piggyback off that before going on to the next one, just to say like that was something that we got on a bit of a Fallout journey, and we really didn't know how they were going to like kind of capture the Fallout world because it is unique. Like it's post-apocalyptic and end of the world, and yet it had this bizarre 1950s thing going on, and yet they found that somehow and they leaned into the awkwardness of it and the humor of it in a way that I think in lesser hands would have fallen horribly flat or just gone terribly wrong. And they managed to hit right in the sweet spot. So yeah, that's got to get a shout out. That was 12. So number 11 on our list is Hazbin Hotel. Hazbin Hotel inspired our costumes for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day last year, as you might know. If you haven't, you should check that out. Yeah. But it was something that we instantly loved. And I understand why I instantly loved it because I'm a musical theater person, but he instantly loved it too. And that says a lot. Yeah. We were rocking out to Charlie's opening number and then Adam's opening number like many, many times. Continue to listen to the soundtrack from season 1 over and over again. I pretty regularly sing it along in the shower. I have a playlist of sing-along songs that I listen to, and Hazbin Hotel has quite a few numbers in that one. Season 2, not quite as successful in that regard as season 1, but we've kind of lumped it all in. So this encompasses both seasons. There were definitely some standout musical numbers from season 2. Season 2 is further in the story. It just felt like season 2 was kind of a setup for season 3 that's gonna like be knocking it out of the park. So that's probably why, like, it's possible if we were judging Hazbin Hotel just on the first season, it might have ranked a little bit higher because that was such a surprise standout from some of our viewing from last year. But all told, it comes in at number 11.
Now into our top 10, and Avatar: The Last Airbender is number 10. Aang and the gang, Toph, I mean, just a lot of great, phenomenal characters in this. And then also Azula as well. She's just like, that scene, that beach scene, that episode, that might have been one of the episodes that I've laughed at the most, like out of anything that we've watched. She was just so funny seeing her like trying to like be like in a normal situation that doesn't involve like trying to kill anybody.
It's not her strong spot.
Yeah, and so I just thought that show really surprised me. I'm gonna be honest, when we first started watching it, the first couple episodes, like I talked to Bethany, I'm like, so how are you liking this show? And she's like, oh, I love it. I think it's really great. And I was like, yeah, me too. And like, I was not into it. I was not into it right away. It took me a little bit to get hooked, to be honest. I'd won our poll, and someone's like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot, and I'm gonna stick with it and commit it. And I'm glad I did. And like for like a kid's show, it had so much depth to it, and really just was like, I would say start to finish, but I wasn't really like into it in the beginning, but like the way it like wrapped up too, like it's really tough to nail the ending of a show, but I thought it did a phenomenal job at it.
I also have to give a special shout out to the summary episode.
Oh yeah, best summary episode ever. Of like
fantastic.
Best recap episode in any series.
Episode, that was the word I was looking for. Yeah, thank you.
For sure. The way they did it is very creative.
Yeah. All right, coming up next is Castlevania Alucard. I feel like I don't even need to say more than that. It's Alucard. But
Dracula himself is amazing.
Yeah, the whole Belmont. I loved how that opened with sort of like the origin of how Dracula became Dracula and what happened to his wife. And like you hate the priest because because terrible person.
For reasons, yeah.
And you obviously are just devastated about what happened to Dracula's wife. Then Dracula gets his revenge, which you wanted, but then you start feeling really unsettled about having wanted it to the degree that it goes. And so like just the way it launches you in is wonderful. But then of course, Alucard, Civ, Belmont, all of their stories are so interesting. And they inspired Halloween costumes for us.
Yep.
What, 2 years ago now, I think it was?
Yeah. It's Sypha.
Sypha, sorry. Sypha. Why was I thinking Civ?
I don't know. It's all right.
Civ is a character from something. I don't know why it's in my head, but anyway. But yeah, they inspired our costumes for Halloween one year. So just absolutely love them. I felt like the whole show from the very moment that it hooks you in on that first episode to the very last episode, they nailed it the whole way through.
Yeah. All right. And number 8 is One Piece, a live action. We have not seen the anime at all. We just seen the live action, the first season. But the first season definitely stuck and with us, and it hit. And like to have this sort of like crazy world and these outlandish characters, how are you gonna do that live action? To me, they pulled it off, damn near flawlessly. But having not watched the anime, obviously, like we're just coming into this. This is our introduction into One Piece. But still really loved the characters in it. I mean, Luffy is just like, how could you not love Luffy? He's just such a, he's got that Goku thing about him as well. He's just so fun loving and so good natured, and just really looking forward to the next season and seeing like, I don't know how many episodes it is. I hope it's a little bit longer just because like season 1 was so good. I just wanted more episodes of it. But they're doing it really well. And like we had faith going into it because a lot of people that were, fans of the channel and like on our Patreon had said that, they're fans of the anime themselves. And like, they said like, oh, this is really actually a really good live adaptation of it. And so like, that's why we gave it a chance, and not disappointed at all.
I also think it's really tough, especially when you're working on a world as unique as the One Piece world, to be able to nail it in such a way that you please both the franchise fans of the anime who are familiar and kind of know all the ins and outs of it, as well as people who
newcomers
know nothing about it and who are maybe more of your live action viewers in terms of genre, like media in general. When you can appease both those audiences, that's really tough to do, and you've got to be doing something right. So yeah, that's just my little hats off to One Piece as well. Next up, and we bunched these together, we have Rebels, Clone Wars, and Bad Batch, which would be I realized I had stopped saying numbers. This would be number 7.
Yeah.
Castlevania was 9, One Piece was 8, Rebels, Bad Batch, and Clone Wars is number 7. There's so much to say about all of these. I could go on for too long. So I'm going to kind of sum it all up by saying, I thought I knew Star Wars. I thought I knew the story of Star Wars, and I had a pretty good feeling for like the world. These 3 shows enriched it so much and deepened it that anybody who says they're a Star Wars fan who hasn't seen them, I'm like, you're kind of not a real fan then. Which I would have thought was really snobby before if someone had said that to me, but yet having watched them, I'm like, no, but it is kind of true.
Yeah.
Understanding the Clone Wars, understanding how that all unfolds, like that's not ever something that they do justice to in the live action movies. You need to watch Clone Wars to understand that. But even more so what Clone Wars does for a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, and his rise and his ultimate fall, Ahsoka.
Introducing Ahsoka, yeah.
Like these are characters that are pivotal to the Star Wars world, and you don't understand the half of them if you don't watch Clone Wars. And then to watch Clone Wars, you should watch Bad Batch, because after understanding what happens to the clones and the soldiers and like, through the eyes of Rex is one lens, yes, but like the Bad Batch really helps you understand even more so the world of the clones and how they were treated and the conformity versus the rebels that some are, great characters in that. And then of course Rebels, which you can, but you shouldn't watch Ahsoka if you haven't watched Rebels. Yeah. Because there are so many nods to Rebels in that show. That show is a continuation of Rebels in so many ways that like you won't fully understand the history of those characters without seeing Rebels.
Yeah, and also Darth Maul in Clone Wars. Like before I watched Clone Wars, I was like, why is everyone so like fanboying over Darth Maul? Like, why is he such a cool character? Like, yeah, like he looked cool in whatever the Phantom Menace or the first one that he was in. Was like that was it though. Like he was like there was like no depth to that character at all. Like in that show, he was just like a cool badass character. Which like that's fine, that's cool, but like to have that much love. Then you watch Clone Wars, I'm like, okay, now I get it. you know, and then like just so many great villains in that one. Also, like, I mean, obviously you get, you know, Darth Vader and everything, but like then Thrawn too and Rebels. I mean, come on. So yeah, for sure. We have lumped those all together because like it was just hard to separate them. Just be like, okay, well, you know, they're all like kind of like they build off of each other, and you just kind of need each and every one of those. So we're on to number 6, and that is Invincible. Again, you got, you know, humor, heart, violence, you know, it's got it all.
That's what we look for.
Yeah, moments that make Bethany look away, make me go, hell yeah. That's gonna rank high on our list. And then also like Rex, just his evolution to have a character that we like absolutely, I don't know if despise is the right word, but just you roll your eyes at him, you're like, this dude's such a fucking tool. And then just like to have his growth in that show, and like to have it done in such a natural and like believable way, right? Where he's still Rex. He is just like changed how he like what his priorities are, you know, and like he's like still the same person. He's not like magically changed and like all of a sudden he's like not obnoxious, but like he's now like obnoxious, like more like in an endearing way, like, you know, like it's just like I just love the way that they handled his transformation. I thought that it's one of the best like redemption stories, one of the most like believable ways that someone can be redeemed, you know, because like otherwise you see these things, people being redeemed, and it seems like they're like a completely different person, and it's like, yeah, that's not kind of what happens with people. Like they, you know, you kind of are who you are. It's just, you know, what is your focus, and what are you prioritizing, and what do you care about? Like those things can change.
Yep. Well said. All right. So we are now in our top 5.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 5, we have Vox Machina.
Yeah.
This show, again, the humor is something we come back to over and over again, and the heart. But to have this ensemble cast of misfits, just couldn't be more invested in them. You know, couldn't love them more. All of them in all of their unique, funny, interesting ways. I think, you know, Vex and Vax, each of their romances in the last season and kind of like cheering for them and like, you know, going through a little bit of heartbreak with them. Like, you know, those are things where if you're getting choked up watching that, like the show is successful. You know, if you find yourself getting a little bit teary-eyed at certain parts, but then laughing out loud, like a real belly laugh at like the next moment, that's a good show.
Yeah, I can't believe this is all done like from a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It's just like what's even more unbelievable.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably my most in-depth introduction to a Dungeons and Dragons world and like narrative was through Vox Machina. And I was like, ooh, like I could go for more of this. This is what I was like, I get why everybody's geeking out over Dungeons and Dragons if it's this.
Number 4 is Dragon Ball. I'm lumping all Dragon Ball together again. Like OG Dragon Ball Z, which like we know, again, we didn't see like all of Dragon Ball Z. We saw Dragon Ball Z Kai, basically from the Buu saga, and we played through Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Dragon Ball Daima, Dragon Ball Super, crazy amount of characters that we care about and got introduced to and have fallen in love with. You know, characters that we've cosplayed as on the channel. Our first real anime that we dove into with Dragon Ball, and you know, to go back to the beginning now and like go through the original Dragon Ball and like see these characters from like a different perspective, especially like Yamcha, like how much Yamcha is and how important Yamcha is and how great his character is in the original Dragon Ball. And just like, I mean, such a big part of the channel and a big part of our lives these last few years. And so I've really enjoyed the show. I'm like, yeah, it has its moments where like it drags on maybe a little bit longer than it should, because like, you know, it's got to have those filler episodes. It's got to have like, you know, everyone's got to stare at each other for a good 5 minutes before they fight. You know, there's like, you got to scream for another 3 minutes while you're powering up. But yeah, some great epic fights in there as well. And some great heart.
I'll just kind of piggyback off of that to say Dragon Ball has been such a huge part of our channel for the last couple of years. I mean, it's been a big journey. And at least for us as of this moment, we have completed our filming for it. And that is really sad for me. And I think that's one of those things is like when you get to the end of a journey and you're sad, it's like when you finish a really good book or something, it's like you've invested a lot of time in this story and these characters, and I mean, I think of like reading something like, you know, Lord of the Rings. Like you've invested 3 books worth on this journey. And now it's coming to an end. And it's like, it's good that it has, because like every story has to find its ultimate conclusion, but there's like a sense of loss now that it's just kind of like there's a little bit of a void now. And I know we got exciting shows coming up, so like it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be filled, but right now in this moment, because we've just finished that and we haven't yet started the new stuff, I'm like, I'm a little bit sad. Like there's a hole right now.
Oh,
I know. Anyway,
bring us down.
This is like a Happy New Year's episode, so we're not going to talk about that right now. Coming in, number 3, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. This show, for me, pretty damn near flawless, I think, from beginning to end. I absolutely loved our heroes and our villains, but I love how things weren't all very easily black and white. I mean, it feels like it is at first, you know, as you go through it, like you have your hero team and your villain team, which gives you this anchor, right? Like you know who you're cheering for, you know who you're cheering against. Great, we're in the game. But then as it goes on, it gets more complicated and there are more layers to what's happening. I'm trying, like, I've been really vague in a lot of my stuff because I'm like, I don't want to give stuff away if you haven't gone on the journey yet. So I'm trying to think of how to say this in a way that can convey what I want without doing any spoilers, because we are a no spoiler channel.
You've done some spoilers before, it's fine.
The brother relationship is so moving, and I love them individually. Like Ed and Al are great individual characters, but the lengths to which they will go into danger for each other, that they love each other, that they trust each other, which is really put to the test in like the last few episodes, is I look at that and I think of that love and I'm like, that's the love that we all want in our lives. Whether it's from a sibling, from a parent, from a romantic partner, it doesn't matter. Like you want that love that is like somebody who trusts you completely, who will go to the ends of the earth for you, and who has your back at every moment. And like they have that and they personify it in such a wonderful way that is so moving. I can say that because there's no spoilers there. Okay, what else can I say without spoilers? I love that our hero team has some people on it who have done some really terrible things, and it kind of makes you look at that and question, like, okay, you are on our hero team, we are cheering for you, but how are you going to handle this in a way that allows me to still respect you? Like, how are you going to address this part of your past that will allow us to still respect you? You'll have to see whether or not you do from watching it, but I found that they came up with ways that I was on board with. And then on the villain team, you look forward to some villains' demise so much, and you just cannot wait for it to happen. And then when it does, it's not always as satisfying as you'd hoped, which is good. Because they kind of have, you know, it's kind of good that they rob you of that as an audience, because it's not through bad storytelling, it's through excellent storytelling. And I think I've said all I can without spoilers. But if you haven't watched that show, you should watch it because it's amazing.
I also will say that, like, I think the show does a great job of like not having like really throwaway characters. Like Thursdays might think that like, oh, you know, this character won't matter that much. Like they end up really do mattering down the line, and like you end up really liking like a lot of the like smaller characters in that show as well. Like Buccaneer for me was one of those where I just at first like I'm like, okay, like he's a cool guy, like he's got a cool arm, and like, you know, he's like
he's got a cool arm.
Olivier's like, you know, right hand man or whatever. But like then, you know, towards the end I'm like, holy crap, this guy is amazing. I love this man. And then also I think it does a great job of letting you know that, you know, you don't be so quick to judge people. Which, you know, we definitely judge people, especially when we watch like, you know, the shows or whatever. I was like, I hate that guy. And then like, you know, but because you don't know the whole story, right? You don't know like people's reasons for the way that they're acting. And then also that like everyone is able to have some redemption, right? And like, just because you did some bad things in the past that you regret doesn't mean you need to keep going down that path, and that you can make a change and you can strive for something better. And, you know, you don't always have to be the villain. You don't always have to be just like, you know, angry and hateful and vengeful. You know, you can be more.
The characters who don't change from that path, who don't like take the detour, are the ones who wind up being hated the most. The ones who like Detour, those are the ones where you go like, you know, we've all done some shit we aren't proud of. Not necessarily on the same scale, but like we've all done some stuff, and you know, you learn from it, and once you know better, you do better.
Number 2 on our list is Arcane.
Oh yeah.
And 2 seasons only, but they were 2 solid seasons. Every episode just had so much world building, character development, made you like laugh and cry and
Ugly cry.
Yeah, ugly cry, and then also it's just some great discussions that we had afterwards. You know, and then you know, it's just fun like seeing in the discussions too. Like even if I don't agree with what everyone was saying, but like, you know, like who the real heroes are, who the real villains are, and like, you know, people that were all like, you know, Team Silco, and then people that were all like, you know, anti-Heimerdinger, and it's just like interesting like seeing all these different people, you know, like everyone's like different opinions on these different people, like these different characters within the show, and like the fact this is all based on a game that like they just have the characters from the game, right? This isn't necessarily like a story like in the game. It's not like they adapted it like Last of Us adapted the game, right? Where they like had like a story to adapt it from. Like they just built this very creative story, and they're like, hey, it's only gonna be 2 seasons. Like, yeah, like we'll still do like more League of Legends stuff, and like in this world, like you might see some of these characters like again, and like, but like their main stories are like kind of over, right? And they're finished and they're wrapped. And so you know that, and like another show we watched, not on the channel, but Rome did that as well. And it's like, okay, like, you know, when you know when to end the show, and like, okay, we don't need to go on anymore. It's like, this is the story we have to tell. We're going to tell it, and we're going to tell it really well.
Yeah. I'll just add on to that. The character of Jinx and the character of Vi and that relationship. I mean, I just talked about the brothers in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, but the sisters in Arcane, they break your freaking heart. And particularly Jinx, because Jinx is such a tragic character. I remember, you know, when we were first looking at League of Legends stuff, and like, and there's talk of Arcane coming, people were really excited about Jinx, and I didn't, you know, we were new to it. I didn't understand necessarily why. Like, I was like, okay, I guess she must be like a cool character, have cool powers or something. Watching Arcane and getting the story of Jinx and just how much she breaks your heart, you know, how vulnerable she was as a little child, and just sort of the unfortunate influences and kind of madness that took over her. It just, I get why everybody's hooked in, because like, God, you kind of hate her at moments, but you care so much about her, and it's then you hate her for making you care, and you hate her for making you hate her, and it was like, it's great because she takes you on such an emotional roller coaster ride as the audience member. And of course that's furthered by Vi, because if it weren't for Vi and how much Vi cares about Jinx and keeps fighting for her, you might not necessarily care about Jinx either. So yeah, I just had to add on to Arcane because I loved it. Coming in at number 1 is Andor. To do a Star Wars show without Jedi and without lightsabers, I can imagine pitching that in a Hollywood room and getting laughed out of the room. Like, I can just imagine people not wanting to give you the time of day, because like, how can you do Star Wars without lightsabers? But what they gave us was such a human story of how human leadership can go so terribly, terribly wrong, you know, in the Empire, and the people who understand the right from the wrong, and you have to try and fight and break the law and do terrible things to try and make the world right again. And just the complexity that is that. Probably will notice, like, as we get further in our list, there's something about a really sweet 2 seasons that we seem to jive with. And then there's also the fact that like all of these additionally like shades of gray. It's not black and white. It's not so simple. Even Star Wars, which is evil empire, good rebels. The individual people do things that are in shades of gray that make you question whether or not they're really good or they're really moral. And like, anytime there's a show like that prompts discussions, whether it's from a show or a movie or a video game, that's what I love, is when like the entertainment transcends just that hour and a half or hour or 30 minutes of entertainment, and it makes you talk about ideas, and it makes you talk about the bigger concepts and the bigger issues, because that's just exciting. Like, that lights my brain up. And it's like having a show like Andor that does that, and that makes you question, well, I mean, like, is it okay to have your hero murder people flat out murder people in the first episode, and like you still like him. So like, yeah, okay, they could die. And then you're like, what am I saying? They were just doing their job. I mean, sure, they were dicks about it, but like, you know, that's sort of what they were supposed to be doing. And then, you know, to have a character like Cyril, who is
Zero Cereal,
who is so just feeble and pathetic, but he's so desperate too for somebody to admire him and acknowledge him and say that he's doing a good job, that he falls prey to anybody who will do that and becomes so horribly manipulated in this plot by the person that he loves and who he felt loved him too. And whether or not she did, probably in her own way, whatever. But it's just having complex characters like that with complicated lives and complicated stories that make you question your own judgments of them, your own perceptions of right and wrong and morals, like that I find to be very exciting.
Yeah, and like somebody might be surprised that this is our top spot because, you know, as we were watching the show, like we didn't necessarily like learn the characters' names and
terrible
like
with names.
Yeah, terrible with names. Like, you know, like giving them nicknames called Luthen and Papa Skarsgård for
most of the
season. Yeah, I think all season 1. But, you know, like also if you're watching this, you probably then realize that like what we really care about are like, you know, the characters' relationships, you know, the great writing of the dialogue,
writing in the show,
the themes in the show, and just like, you know, like that's kind of like what I'm paying attention to, like not necessarily like, you know, remembering everyone's name. You know, like yes, we should probably be better about that, and like, you know, that'll be a New Year's resolution, is trying to be better about learning the characters' names in the show in a timely fashion. And I know it's like, you know, fans of the show really want us to obviously know that when we're talking about the characters, instead of saying like, oh, Zero Cereal and, you know, giving them our nicknames. You know, we won't change completely, I'll say, but at the same time, yeah, just like the show itself, it sticks with you. It gave us some really great conversations afterwards to discuss. And yeah, and so it's just like, it was some of the best speeches that I've seen in a show as well. And yeah, like, I mean, you don't even need to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy that show, I think. But like, you know, obviously if you are, then like it enriches it more. But I mean, just like what the show deals with is, man, it's heavy. They do such a great job with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought up the speeches, because like the speeches from that show, the writing was phenomenal. The acting like knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
all the actors. The speeches are ones that like I feel like I could go back and just look up certain speeches and just watch a YouTube clip of the speeches. You know, I think of Mon's speech to the Senate.
Yeah.
Obviously, Andor makes several inspiring speeches to get people on board. Luthen's speech about essentially what it takes to do what he does and how much that has cost him. And then of course, oh my God, I'm blanking on the character's name. Who does the whole "Why you fight the Empire" speech and who gets crushed by the...
Nemec.
Thank you, Nemec's speech. I mean, God, that says it all, right? That's why Star Wars exists. That's why we have stories like Star Wars, is for everything that he lays out in that speech.
All right, so those are our top 25 shows we've watched, and next year we'll do top 26 shows.
Yeah.
So we'll see what shows next year make it in and bump some of those out, and you know, some may rise as well as like new seasons get added. Thanks so much for watching the channel, for watching this video, for depending on which journey. I don't know if you've seen all of our journeys or if you just, you know, following us for specific journeys. Either way, we really appreciate it. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year!